Yeah.
Perfect. Write all this down and put it in a document. Put that document in your IRA thing.
Okay. And it should be up now.
Okay, you got a delay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. This is now. We're going to get the show on the road.
Looks like
Okay.
everything synced.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here in Estonia. No. Yes, we are in Estonia and Colorado. No, Greeley, right? Greeley, Colorado.
You're right.
Yeah. So, yeah, my at one point my Zoom says, "I don't think I want to start today."
So we are here. Happy Monday, everybody. How's everybody doing? You're on Intervision FM. We got to recognize Richard Damiano, Littleton Eye Clinic. Vision is very important for those that have it. It's probably good to keep it. That's about all I got to say about that. We got a lot of good topics. We also got, what do you call them? Christian Brothers Moving Company. They are they're based out of here, I guess, but they got some places in Arizona and Phoenix area and somewhere in Texas. Texas is a big place. So a lot of phone books. Wait, they don't make phone books anymore. We got lots of topics dealing from the 1980s to 2022, folks. Stay put.
Oh, yeah.
And like, share, subscribe, all that. PayPal.me/Intervision Denver. That's PayPal.me/Intervision Denver.
Because we're stuck at 1,064, and it goes back to 1,063, and then back to 1,064. So I'm not sure what's going on, but ladies and gentlemen, on our last show, we had about like 16 people view that one last week. So do sign up so whenever we go on the air, you'll know. And if you have any suggestions for topics, let us know. Because, hey, if we want to be talking about the stuff that you're interested in finding out, because we're as blind guys, we look at the headlines, we paste some of our topics on that, and sometimes we just base it on stuff that we're studying or looking at or wanting to know more about, and we say, oh, okay, let's share that with the audience.
Right.
So,
Where do you want to start today?
Oh, by the way, I want to let people know. Okay, we Bill Barr, he says that Hunter Biden should be what is it? What they got? Should be looked at closer. And I'm saying, right, Bill Barr, right. You were there, you didn't do it. So now you're saying that the DOJ now should be looking into it. So take Bill Barr with a grain of salt. Then this gentleman, I think his name is Benjamin. I forgot his name, but Independent Institute. He has a initiative that he's working on to get on the legislation for November 8th. Initiative 31 that will, protect our Tabor money, because these banditos here in Colorado, they've been trying to steal our Tabor money, and Polis, and that's not his real name, Governor Polis, he wants to bribe us by giving us $750 just before the voting goes in effect in November 8th.
Make sure you paid your taxes to get that, though. Speaking of taxes and things, we're going to cover also things that are not financial advice by any means. We're going to also cover things that we can't really talk about too well on here without having servers and all kinds of crazy stuff to throw on intervisionfm.com. We do other programming as well, like 24/7 promotion of different interviews from disabled folks to what do you call them? what do you call us?
Disabled
Grassroots
musicians,
musicians,
grassroots, yeah,
you know,
that's you.
financially challenged folks, because we're all financially challenged. And these days, we all got to get together and stay together. That's
Hey,
the main thing.
I gotta tell you something.
What's
Now,
that?
I wouldn't know this, unless my wife told me. But in um, Exona, where I'm at, we're
Yeah.
watching TV,
Okay.
and I guess Europeans think differently about nudity.
Yes.
So, she said, "Wow, they show everything."
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, you know
It's not-
about this?
yeah. Yeah. It's something that's been going on for years, and it used to really shock the old time Christian community of the 1980s. In fact, they brought it up, and they're like, "Boy, those Europeans, they're forward." They use different words than forward, but they did use a fru word. Anyway, words are weird blah. Words are weird.
Yes.
Anyway,
So
go ahead.
it was
Go
just something I didn't know as a blind people. I mean, as a blind person, how would I know?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
my wife just pointed it out, and I said, "Wow, okay, I didn't know that." So for the newest colonies, thumbs up for you.
That's right. That you know, it's interesting. I'm sitting here in a bedroom in a basement on a bed, and it's all due to the miracle of modern technology. And folks, we, the blind, have never lived in a better time in society, because we can access
Technology.
information just like anybody else can today. But back in the day when we were growing up, we used these ancient buildings, and they were called libraries. And these libraries still exist today in some form, but they're all digital. But anyway, I digress. Everything used to be paper, and that paper used to be print, and that print used to be inaccessible. And the
Oh,
inaccessibility in progress basically made Braille. And then Braille innovated and united the blind community, because see, we were on institutions all of our lives, and that's where we died. We were born, sent there, and died. And now employment is
yeah.
different, because we can literally access a lot more information. I don't know where that came from, but it does kind of bring up an interesting subject that it's near and dear to my heart. We are transferring from this printed money that we have to a digital type of society, because there's a few reasons, 4 or 5 reasons, really. One, the system wasn't designed to last more than 50 years, the way that we set it up when we got off the gold standard.
Mhm.
So basically what happened was gold, because it wasn't as revered or viewed or whatever as a good thing, it actually started growing in value. Gold was supposed to be the standard for everything. And this Federal Reserve thing that was developed in 1913 was never supposed to have been done, because, but that's a different story for a different time. Stay tuned, because we're going to cover those kinds of things as well in the future. But for now, suffice to say, we have to get to a centralized, decentralized currency, as it were. What I mean by that is we need to get to a unified currency. At least this is the thinking of the bigwigs and the elites today. And those guys rule us. That's just the way that it is. Like it or not, we the people have decided that we the people will just elect, select, and go to sleep. And so we just have to deal with what we set up. Because you see, the things that the mind perceives, the body will achieve. I mean, if somebody says in their mind, "I want to make a headless chicken," so that I can solve the chicken shortage of all the world.
Okay.
Headless chicken. Okay. Now, it'll get out there in some way, some form, some shape, and then it'll get forgotten because society's memory is like 5 seconds.
It's the impossible chicken.
It's the impossible chicken.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, you can cross-pollinate different crops and make star fruits or combinations of different fruits that never existed in nature. Rocko flower, this kind of thing. It's the same type of thing, except for on a grander scale. Anyway, the idea being that the mind is the place where it's developed, and the body is the place where the vehicle comes into play, where it can be disseminated. And after disseminated, then you have a general, acceptance by society, like it or not. So that's kind of where we're at. I got to get a drink of water. I'll be right back.
Oh, also, people, I just learned yesterday that Aurora, Michelle Nichols, at the age of 89, has left the starship. And she's on her way to the vast universe out there, space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore places and to boldly go where no man has gone before. So we'd like to salute Michelle Nichols, who started as Lieutenant Aurora, 4th in command on the Starship Enterprise. And we'd like to thank her for her acting service. And we wish her...
That show really did do some stuff for humanity, because it brought forth a culture of acceptance. All races were on that particular show accepted and unified. And that's what we all as a human race are shooting for, is, an ultimate place where everybody's unified and everything is all for the common good. And that's a kind of scary place to be, because humanity is never meant for that. Meant to serve our King and our Lord Jesus Christ and glorify him. In so doing, I mean, we abundantly then prosper. It's just anyway.
Yeah. So that the one topic I'm looking at here. Okay. So I say as a blind guy, investing, because I was watching this guy, and he's from India, and I guess his family came over here, and man, could you imagine? Okay, say if you came from Denver to Greeley, and people wanted to kill you, and so they had a sword, and they're swinging their sword, and you're swinging your sword, and then your cousin gets his head chopped off, and then you kill the person who chopped off your cousin's head, and that was his grandfather, and then his grandfather uncle got his head chopped off, and then he had to slice up the guy and get past that, and then his grandfather and his dad made it through to get to America, and the main concept was become a doctor or a lawyer. But this young man, he decided that he wanted to find out how people became rich in America. And he looked at Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and these other guys that weren't doctors and weren't lawyers. And he was looking at what they did. And so that got me to thinking about we as people, blind people, you know, because we know about blind people, because we want to be, we're not financially taught anything. None of us are taught really anything financial about how to work with money and how we can make money work for us. And
Yeah,
I
so
thought
we
about, yeah, go ahead.
trusted for sort of advice. Just want to put that out there. We're just discussing stuff. This is a roundtable discussion. So for YouTube, we're not discussing financial advice and giving in any sort. Here's what you should do, folks. We're just talking. We're just talking.
Yeah.
So here we go.
And I thought, what would be easy for a blind person? I mean, I don't know if you should easy, but you want to have your money work for you, you not necessarily work for your money. And how can you generate residual pay that will pay you while you sleep?
Condominiums.
Hey,
Really? Boom. You know what I mean? That's how you do it, right?
yeah, and I saw this ad, and at first I thought, you know, I hit the mark of like, you know, $600,000, because that's what my parents' house costs now. I mean, they bought it for $45,000 back in the day, and then, you know, inflation shot it up to 600.
That's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, and we've seen it. I mean, over the last 20, 30 years, actually, tell you the truth, they were still pretty reasonable till like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Prices for housing and things like that have not exploded until comparatively recently when we're talking about the real estate market. So folks, this is all a setup. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was just basing it on that because they said you can go from 10,000 to 1 million. I said, I don't want to go to 1 million. I'll just go 600,000. And so Alan, he was telling me something about if you did get a condominium for $10,000, tell the audience that story again, what you would find.
Well, what you'd find is you'd open your door and maybe you'd find the floor not intact, let's just say. So you'd have to replace some floors. As you go further in, you go into the kitchen and you notice, hey, there's no appliances here. So we got to put in a stove. We got to put in counters. We've got to put in a refrigerator. We got to put in, take your pick. So if you've got investment capital in, play that you can play with without really having to put out too much capital, you're in good shape. How many disabled individuals, grassroots musicians, how many financially challenged individuals are going to be able to step up to the plate and do that? Well, here's how you do that. Never quit, never yield, never stop, never give up, never give in, never surrender. Unless that surrender be made, to your God. And the Lord Jesus Christ is that King. And that's why I brought that into the picture earlier. It really just boils down to this. Something created everything, right? And we happen to call it God. We sometimes call it Father, whatever, right? I mean, don't get all tripped out on that, folks that don't believe in this stuff and blah, blah, blah. This is what living in America was supposed to be all about. You can have freedom of religion, and that even means freedom from religion, if that's what you're looking for. That's just fine. But there are people out there, and this is just, we're talking about people. We can't help the way that we're made any more than the way that you can help the way that you're made. And so anyway, these technologies and these ideas that we see forming around us are some terrifying to us because we believe certain things. Okay, folks. I mean, that's really all it boils down to.
Right. Hey, but I want to cover this a little bit because I was looking at that picture. Now, in the past, I've hired camera people who, because I was blind, I paid them top dollar, maybe $200 for an hour of footage, and the camera flipped up, or the camera person came in high off of marijuana and said, "This is a blind guy. He's not going to know," So you're going into the situation, and so you really have to bond with a contractor that you really trust. Yep. So if you get this place for $10,000, because I've heard this guy saying that you can get like a $50,000 loan, and then and do it. you got to get somebody who's not going to BS you and do a half class job and then run with the rest of the money, or don't even pay the person. Well, you got to have somebody you trust.
Well, here's a bigger part. Where's that place located? You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Place. Then you can fix it up and make it look like gold, but all you're doing is putting lipstick on a pig. That's the thing. So you can buy all the estate you want and, fix it up and do whatever. The key is not just the acquisition of real estate. The key is acquisition of location and acquisition of even more than that, because what you want to do is you want to then take those undesirable places and make them just. Well, how do you do that? There's a couple of ways to do that. There's a good and right and noble way to do it, and there's a dishonorable way to do it. And since we have taken God out of our schools, out of our nation, so to speak, he's a gentleman. So he left. Well, he didn't leave, but he has withdrawn his hand. And so we're just living through the consequences of him withdrawing his hand. There's still blessings and everything is still, good for us. We're still, awakened every day and we still have stuff. But this woke stuff has to go, because the bottom line is we're not made in the way that we have made our minds to believe so that our bodies could achieve this stuff. We're not made to merge with technology and our machines. And yet we will be doing just that in the next 15, 20, 30 years. Who knows? But they are already talking about, cybernetic implants, which are good, make people walk, make people drive, whatever.
Now tell them about that thing that you were saying about, say, you're not obeying the person who is working your legs or gave you this technology. tell them that scary story.
Imagine what's called a social credit score. And what that is what they do is they decide what people are worth based upon what class system they fall into. So if a credit score like this were to be ever implemented in the Western society, theoretically, somebody could do something that wouldn't be enjoyed by the established whatever. And so the legs could be shut down, so you couldn't use them. Now imagine things like that. These are just because the mind can achieve, the body will. Because the mind can perceive, the body will achieve this. And because there are certain folks that just want that kind of control, and they can't help the way that they're made. It's okay. Well, it's not okay, but they can't help the way that they're made. They're going to make that thing. And we just have to actually accept that, but not accept it, if you know what I mean. Don't surrender. Don't surrender. That's part of the don't surrender part. The don't give up, don't give in, don't get all that stuff. That's humanity. That is our minds, our bodies, our collective consciousness. The stuff that was that was created before we created. See, we live in a real cool time, because here in the next few, it's going to be like this. That's all there is. There's already nanotechnology in our vitamins, for criminy sakes. The gummies that you guys buy in the stores. You know why so well? Because nanotechnology, folks. And that's used to power us. That's used to make us healthy. No more. Vitamins must come from the source. They have to come from vegetables, and they have to come from, our diet. It has to come from there. It cannot come from a silly candy.
Going back to Star Trek, as you know, like in Star Trek, remember one time they went back to Earth and they had inadvertently had to bring some people on board that they just got in the crossfire of what they were doing. So they beamed people up and this one guy, the guy says, "Are you hungry? Would you want something to eat?" He said, "Yeah." So he pushes a button. He says, "What would you like? Chicken soup?" So he pushes the button, zzz, and then the guy stuck his finger in there and says, "Chicken soup." But is it really chicken soup?
Right.
Or is it just,
That's I mean, that's a forerunner. That's the cell phones that we have in our hands right now, or that I have in my hand. It ends up being the communication device. This was made in 1966. So here it's 2022. Things like this are now being held in our hands. And so we're talking, man, 46 years worth of, or 56 years. I'm not sure.
From thought to conception to reality.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on Star Trek, it was the flip phone. I just think about Michelle Nichols and everything like that. But
Right.
But was a flip phone, and then, first we had, I guess, those big giant phones.
For those of the mid 80s.
Yeah, and then it turned into the flip phones, and now we have.
And now we got handphone, smartphones, devices of all types. In fact, the strange thing is they made tablets. They made the devices bigger, because people had a hard time with the smaller devices. So I don't know. It's interesting, man. Technology is fast.
I got to tell you this happened to me. This happened to me just now. Okay, so I go to the store mall downtown, and Estonia, and I get this cord to plug in to charge my phone. Looks beautiful, everything like that in a box. Or get it home, doesn't work.
Right.
So I could go back down there. The thing will cost me $14. I could go back down there. The cab drive would cost me more than what it would cost.
Right.
Phone. Then I go to this other store and it said, "Oh, you got to go buy this at the Apple store because you buy them at those malls. It's a Chinese production." I'm thinking like, but even if I went to the Apple store, that's still a Chinese production. It has Apple name on it.
Absolutely. And there's a reason for that. They actually set that up like that so that they can do that. Does that make sense? Since they have the market, they may as well go ahead and take the market and split it like that.
Yeah. And
it's
you have to watch it. Yeah, because sometimes you get a product and I'm thinking like, should I call my credit card? It's $14 and just say, I dispute that charge, or should I let them, keep their $14, which they've probably done this to some other people too.
Plenty. It's but this is another byproduct of when people years ago were telling you, hey, this is happening, and you didn't listen. Not you, Johnny, or not you folks who are, tuning in perhaps, or maybe, who knows, if the shoe fits, wear it. But the bottom line is we set this up and we allowed for this to happen. And we are here to get what we get. Don't throw a fit, just deal with it.
I know.
So, that way to do that is to surrender it to God, because that's where the only surrender lies. Otherwise, don't give in, don't give up, don't yield, don't stop, don't let stuff get in your way. Keep going.
And
keep
I know,
going.
Yeah, I know. And we were supposed to talk about Hunter Biden, but
right,
it's just nepotism at its best. So,
well,
I don't have much to say about that.
We are in an awesome time, folks. We're at the place where the animating contest of liberty is brought out in all of us. So it's up to all of us as to how we want this thing to unfold. Whether God wins or whether the AI wins. And I got a good feeling God wins. So we'll just leave it there.
Yeah. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow, and remember, give us some ideas. info@intervisionfm.com. Give us some ideas of what you would like to see on our show, because we're open. All right. God bless. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
God bless.
Yeah.